Welcome back everyone to our custom career mode and VR gameplay. And I'm excited to say that we are finally moving into my personal career mode spreadsheet called the KPG Gaming Career Experience. So let's talk about a few things here before we jump into today's race. We got a lot of work to do here on the spreadsheet before we can get to today's race at Las Vegas. First, let's talk about how we got here in the career mode series. We started off in the asphalt super late model, worked our way up into the trucks. Now we're going to jump into the Cup car. So we're going to move into the NASCAR Cup series as we get started here with this series. Also, let's talk a moment about the spreadsheet itself, the career experience. I'll just say a few months. I'm not exactly sure how long I've been working on this, but I've been working hard for a few months on this spreadsheet. And as we move forward here in the gameplay series on the channel, some things about the spreadsheet I will go into detail about what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. Other things I will not. And the reason for that is I have a separate series here on the channel that's going to go into a lot more detail about the KPG Gaming Career Experience. That series will cover a lot more information in depth than I can cover here in the gameplay series that you're watching right now. So if you're wondering why some things I'll explain a little bit more than others, that will be why. And I highly recommend going to watch those videos before you get started here today, as it will explain a lot about what's going on here in the spreadsheet and give you some of the behind the scenes information that I won't be sharing here in the gameplay. So for those of you who have been with us since the beginning of the career mode gameplay series, you'll know that when we were last together, we were finishing up in the truck series and we had some money. Where did all that go? I decided to make a clean break and get a fresh start here in the new spreadsheet. So we're not bringing any of that forward. No trucks, no chassis, no money, no nothing. A complete clean slate. So that's how we're going to get started today. And like I said, we've got a lot of work to do here in the spreadsheet before we can get to today's race. We're going to go ahead and get started here on the home screen in the top left-hand corner by settling on a team name. I'm going to go with Ring Racing. Ring being my last name, and I think it goes quite well and has a nice ring to it, you might say. The next thing we need to do is move into the team balance and set up our series. Now, it's only necessary to set up your first series where we're going to start, which will be the NASCAR Cup series, but I'm going to go ahead and extend that beyond so that we can set up the framework of how I want to approach the future of this series. So we're going to go ahead and hop over to series financials, and we're going to get started with the Cup series, which is series number 1. So series 1, we come over, we put a 1 in there, NASCAR Cup. Awesome. We come back over to the home screen and you can see it pre-fills that for us. The next thing we want in series 2 is going to be the Xfinity series. And I happen to know that that's series number 2. So NASCAR Xfinity series number 2, we're off and running. Now series 3 will actually be the trucks, which I know is series number 4. And that's because there's a different series in slot number 3 that we'll see momentarily. We won't be using, at least not immediately, here in the gameplay series. So right now we have the top 3 tiers of NASCAR. So I want to go one step below that in the ladder system, at least for the purposes of my career experience. And we're going to ARCA, which is series number 6. So I'm going to put a 6 here. And then finally for series number 5, I want where it all started for us in this series, the super lates, which are 8. So let's talk for a moment about why I decided to do that. Again, all you really need is series number 1 to get started. But what I wanted to do was lay the groundwork for what we're about to do, not only in today's video to get started, but in the future of this gameplay series. We're going to be running Cup races. However, we're going to jump straight into ownership mode because, well, I love ownership mode, and it's one of the things I have been most looking forward to, so we're going to get right to it. I simply cannot hold off any longer. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to jump into ownership mode of a super late model team. That's how we're going to get started today. So we're going to have a cup operation as well as a super late model operation here from day one. So with that in mind, next thing we need to do is set up our first marketing level to avoid any errors that might pop up. It doesn't like marketing level 0, so we're going to get that to a 1, and trust me, we will be back to this area shortly. So the next thing we need to do is go to the Cup Series. And we need to see exactly how much it's going to cost us to get going. So for that, we hop over to the team management section into the purchases and upgrades. So for the Cup cars, we're going to start out with a single car team that we are going to be driving. So we're the owner and the driver. So that's going to cost us $30,000, essentially some garage space around our home. Then we're going to come down to team 1. We need some chassis. Well, I've decided that we're going to start off small. We're only going to purchase a single chassis type, which is the downforce chassis. The same thing that we did earlier in the series in both the super lates as well as the trucks. We're going to get started the same way here. Now, it's quite expensive to do because not only are we buying the chassis, but we also have to buy some equipment as well as something to pull our trailer, and then we have to buy a trailer to move our car back and forth from the track. So it gets quite expensive, but now we have spent $980,000 and we've yet to run a single race. So that always makes you feel real good. Next thing we're going to do is get into relative performance upgrades. And again, this is something I get into great detail with in the separate series that is dedicated to the career experience. So I'm going to go ahead and drop in the year of 2022, which is going to be our first season in the Cup cars, and then a description for what type of relative performance adjustment am I making. This is the new team adjustment. So we're a brand new team, and I want to start off at the back of the pack. I don't want to start off on equal footing with the top drivers at a relative performance of 0. I want to start off at the back. So I'm going to drop 25 in here, meaning 25 points of performance or 25 positions on the track is an easy way of looking at that. So the way we're going to do this is when we go to the track and we race, we're going to have fun and we're going to finish wherever we finish. We're going to try to be competitive and have tons of fun. However, wherever we finish, we're going to add 25 places to that. So if we finish 10th during our race today at Las Vegas, we're going to add 25 to that. So it's actually going to be a 35th position finish for us, and that is going to have a big effect on our money early on. So that's why I'm doing this. And over time, we're going to have to make some investments here in order to make up this difference. And we're going to have other adjustments as time goes on and the series rolls on, because these things don't change. Teams are constantly working on new equipment, better setups. You get the idea. So it's an ongoing thing, and so we will continue to use this area. But that gets us taken care of for now. Because we're going to be the owner and the driver on this car, we don't need to hire a driver, so we're going to skip this entire area of the spreadsheet. So we're good to go here on the Cup Series. We're going to spend nearly $1 million here at the very beginning for a shoestring budget of a team. Next thing we need to do, because, well, we want to spend some money, is I have decided where are we going to get this money from? Which investors are we going to use to bring some money into the team? And I have decided to go straight to the bottom. We're going to pick the biggest one. Now, you're free to use one or all of these. And if you choose all of them, you're going to have a lot of money to spend at the very beginning. But the reason I chose to go this route, my preference is always to start at the bottom and work my way up. But because we've already done some of that here in this gameplay series, I'm going to go ahead and have a little fun. This is how we're going to get into the ownership mode. So we're going to go ahead and get the $10 million from our investor, and we're going to spend that on marketing level as well as owning a super late model team. All right, so let's go ahead and hop over to series number 5, which is already designated as the Super Late. And we're going to scroll over and we're going to do the same thing we just did in the Cup car. So we're going to go ahead and purchase the level 1 facility. That's an easy one. Then we're going to go ahead and purchase this tract of land, which doesn't get us any actual expansion, but it prepares us for the future. We've got to have somewhere to build our shop, right? And then we're going to jump in and purchase the 2-team garage. We're going to build that shop. So we're spending some money very quickly. Now, because we've decided to go with 2 teams, we need to buy some chassis. The Super Lates, thankfully, go to a lot of very similar tracks, so we only need 1 chassis each. So I'm going to go ahead and drop a purchase in here as well. And there you have it, about $2.5 million. And guess what? I'm going to do the same thing here. We'll name it something a little bit different here. Whatever you want to name it is perfectly fine. We'll call this a loss, and I'm going to drop 25 in here. So excellent. Everything is good to go except for one thing. We got 2 teams. We're not going to be driving these cars on a regular basis. We need to hire some drivers. And we've got a couple of options to do that. In fact, right now I'm going to go ahead and put driver 1, and then I'm going to drop a 2 in here. And we'll get some drivers in here. There's room for 4 drivers because you can own a total of 4 cars in a particular series. So we need to pick up some drivers. The first way you can do this is simply to go over to the Drivers for Hire tab, scroll down to the Super Late models, and pick one of these drivers, whichever ones that you want. We need 2 of them. We could just pick them out right now. But I think, what's the fun in that? Let's mix things up and add a little bit of excitement by coming back to the home screen and letting the luck of the draw pick them for us. You notice at the bottom here, we have Super Late model drivers that are interested. These are drivers that if we approach them, they're interested in signing and racing for our team. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and refresh the spreadsheet. That's going to trigger a change in this, and that's the first driver that we're going to get. So I'm going to go ahead and press F9. Oh, it could not have gone better. Could not have gone better. Bubba Pollard. Now, for those of you who might not be familiar with Super Late Model Racing, he is an amazing driver, been around forever, and pretty much won everything there is to win. So, yeah, it doesn't get better than that. And you saw it. It was the luck of the draw. I didn't even pick him. And I can go ahead and tell you, if I were picking drivers, yeah, he's definitely at the top of my list. So now that's our first driver. Let's come back to the home screen. And you can see we've updated the spreadsheet, so it's already updated here. But I'm going to go ahead and press F9 to update once again. Stephen Nassy. Okay, I promise I'm not doing this on purpose. I promise. These are random. Again, for those of you who are familiar with Super Late models, you'll know that went very well for us. You can see they're both top tier drivers for that particular series. So driver level 16 is the top Super Late model. 16 through 20 are your driver levels there. We got 2 top tier drivers. So that means the pressure is on us to provide them with great equipment. Because what this is going to mean is that if they're finishing in the 5th position on the track, well, not anymore. It's actually a 30th place finish with that. So that is not good. It's on us to provide these great drivers. We've had some amazing luck here in choosing our drivers. So now we got to get them some equipment to work with. All right, so we've spent about $2.5 million there. We still have $6.5 million. Maybe we don't need that $10 million overall. But yeah, when it comes to marketing level, we're going to spend a lot of money very quickly. So let's go ahead and do that. Now, the marketing level I have decided to choose is 12. The reason for that is 11 is pretty much my bare bones level if you're going to run a cup car. Because if you get any lower than that, you're going to have a hard time even breaking even race to race. So let's go ahead and get level 12. In order to do that, I'm simply going to put purchase in every level on the way down. Now, you don't necessarily have to do this. You could easily come straight down to 12, put a purchase in there, only spend 1.75 million, and skip all the rest of this expense. But I don't like to do that. I like to work my way up through, and normally this is the process that I would work my way through, starting at the very bottom and improving over time. But here, we're just accelerating that quite a bit. So we're going to go ahead and spend some money here, and you can see that money is going down very quickly. So this is going to do a few things for us. Number one is spend a lot of money. All right, we're down to $1.5 million right now. So the first thing is it spent quite a bit of money. The second thing it did is it's really going to help us out on sponsorships for the super late models. We're going to get max sponsorships for the super lates, and that's going to help us out with profitability there. We're just hoping that the drivers keep their end of the bargain and they don't ruin a lot of race cars with damage and wrecks. So we've got level 12 there. You can see if we hop over, our team level for marketing is 12, but the series only allows a maximum of 8. All right, so before we run our first events, we need some sponsors. All right, so let's go ahead and get those started. And then I've got some plans on maybe one more thing that we can spend some money on before we get started in today's race. So let's go ahead and generate some sponsors. Remember, these are super late model sponsors. So I click generate sponsors, and here we go. What do we have? We got a total of 4. I see 45,000, 16, 31, 34. Okay, so by far and away, Disney's not giving us any money. We've got PlayStation, but it's only for one race. Do we play it safe and go maybe a little bit longer term at about 32,000? And the answer for me, no. No, we will not. We're going to take that money when we can get it. So I'm going to go ahead and do a little copy paste here. And as I talk about in the other series for the career experience, we always want to do paste values instead of a standard paste. Always paste values. So we're good to go there. And I'll have to remember next race, we're going to need a new sponsor. So we'll click the button again and see what the draw brings us. All right. So that's team number 1. But we got 2 teams. We need to do again. And what do we get for team number 2? We got 95, 38, not bad. 92, oh, and 41, but it's 10 races long. I like that. Not quite to the level of the 45, but Crocs, they're dishing out some money to us. I like it. So let's go ahead and drop that in team 2. And again, we're going to paste values. Okay, so team 2 is now taken care of. And I'm going to go ahead and give this a quick save so that something fishy doesn't happen and we lose all of this information that we've just done. So we've got sponsors for both teams here in the Super Late Model Series. Now we come back over to Series number 1. We need some sponsors to be generated for our Cup effort. Now you're going to notice quite a big difference here in the sponsors in the Cup Series versus Super Late Models, because now we get to take full advantage of our level 12 as opposed to having it drop down to a level 8. So we click Generate Sponsors, and what do we have? Oof. This is not what I was hoping for. We needed bigger. The luck of the draw was not on our side here. We can't complain because we got some amazing drivers with great luck, but here, only 65 grand, 72 grand. These are immediately out. 125 grand, 105. Okay, we'll go with it. So we're going to go with Home Depot. We're going to pick up that sponsorship, do a little copy paste in here. I'm bad about copying and pasting into the wrong cells. So if that happens at some point in this career mode, don't think anything of it. It will not be the first or the last time I do it. Also, I'm prone to forgetting things when we're doing this. So that will probably also happen quite a bit. So at this point, I believe we have done everything we need to do in order to run our first race. We have spent a boatload of money. We got a $10 million investment, and all we have to show for it right now is some equipment, some cars, and $1.5 million. And the promise of a better tomorrow. So we'll see if we can deliver on that. But $1.5 million, that's got me thinking. if we come back over to the Superlates, let's look at this performance adjustment. I would really hate for our two amazing drivers to have great finishes only to have them tarnished by our performance. And the finishes I'm talking about are using the driver finish generation, which again is something I go into great detail about in the other series. So I won't be going into a lot of detail about it here, but that's how we can generate some probability-based finishes based on the series and the level of the driver. So when we get these finishes, I'd hate for it to be tarnished here. It's going to cost us $27,500 for each level of adjustment or each position on the track. So let's go ahead and let's see. I'm just going to call this investment for now, and we're going to call it a purchase. So what happens if we try to do all 25? That's $687,000. It gets us back to a relative performance on par with the top team. So we're spending top money for our vehicles, our chassis, engines, and so forth. I like it. I like it. That's going to put us on par. I wish we could do that in the Cup Series, but we don't have that kind of money. So there you have it. That's actually pretty awesome. So we're down some money. You can see we're spending lots of money, but if we come back over to the home screen, we have almost 850 grand, and that is where it will stay, because at this point, we are ready to talk about Cup racing. So today's race in the Cup Series is going to be at a downforce track, an intermediate track of Las Vegas. Now, for those of you who've been with this gameplay series since the beginning, you'll know I've been using the iRacing setup almost exclusively with few changes. I'm changing that a little bit going forward, and instead, my plan is to start with the iRacing provided setup, but then spend a little time practicing and working with it to try to make some improvements and try to get it a little bit better over a longer run. How well will I do? Who knows? But we're about to find out. Welcome everybody to Las Vegas. We're going to run a 30-lap race against a total of 28 AI cars. Now the AI skill spread will be 95 to 125. That's right, the maximum on the high side. So this should be interesting. I've done some work on the iRacing setup, and I'm hoping it's a little bit better balanced now for us over a long run. Now, if you're wondering which car set I am using, we cannot use the next-gen cars from Cup because, well, iRacing doesn't support them for the AI just yet, so we're using last year's generation of car, the Gen 6 cars. But we do have the updated drivers and for the most part some of the updated paint schemes as well. This is not my car set. If you're looking for the car set itself, you can find a link in the description down below, and that'll take you to the Trading Paints website for this car set. I did have to change some of the AI ratings because they were extremely aggressive. I've tried to leave them as aggressive as possible, but they were so aggressive they were wrecking and making tons of mistakes that were huge mistakes. Basically, it was hard to run a lap with these guys without a caution, even in practice. So I had to make some changes there, as much as I hated to try to calm them down a little bit. Now, my expectation as we're approaching the Geico start zone is that they're going to go off and leave us on new tires. But I'm hoping that our long run speed will give us something for them toward the middle and end of the run.
Green flag, green flag.
Let's hope that that's the way it works. Remember, we got to overcome a relative performance penalty in order to not finish last. So we'll see how it works. But I'm very interested to see how this setup works in traffic. Didn't spend a lot of time in traffic, at least this kind of traffic. One or two cars, yes, but not 40. Oh, easy guys, easy.
Clear.
That was almost very bad. Those guys hit the binders going into the corner. Don't know who it was that backed them up, but I almost caught the back end of the 42 car. That's not where you want to be on lap 1 of your very first Cup race. So I'm not running wide open because right now I don't think it really helps us. If anything, I think it just burns the front tires a little bit. So I'm trying to ease off on corner entry. And also trying to figure out where these guys are going. This thing is loose. I'm having to chase the back end around right now. Not what I want to be doing. But again, I'm hoping it pays off on the long run. Oh, easy there, 31. 31 was coming down, and there wasn't any room there. So I had to make him some room. All right, let's get up on the high side here, at least in the middle of the track. Yeah, these guys are everywhere. They're 3 wide, and they have been 4 wide quite a bit in practice when there was enough cars around. So, yeah, that's not what we want. It's too early for that. Again, you can hear me lifting on corner entry. Now, the bottom is not where I want to be. This setup is very aggressive on the shocks.
Clear. Got one outside. 3 wide. You're on the bottom.
Oh,
outside.
easy, guys. Easy, easy. Yeah, we almost wrecked it there. We were 3 wide on the bottom, and the 19 was taking all of the air off my right side, and that was not fun. I'm loose enough as it is. I don't need his help getting me looser. So we're, what, about 5 laps into today's race, and yeah, this thing, it's rotating good. I'll grant you that. But right now, I'm looking for the long run. I want to see what this thing does after lap 15, lap 20, and so forth.
Still there. Clear.
Well, there's not really anywhere for us to go right now. We're not really off the pace like I worried that we would be. We're not so much off the pace as we are just sort of stuck right now. At this point, I'm not willing to take it 3 and 4 wide to make up a lot of positions.
You're in the middle. 3 wide.
Oh, easy, fellas. Easy, easy, easy.
Hold your line.
Well, I ended up in the middle of 3 wide anyway. I thought we were going to make a pass and be able to slot back in the line. Yeah, there we go. The 5 car is going to give us a little bit of room there.
You're in the middle. 3 wide. Outside.
Oh, look at the 21 dancing on the bottom down there. Look at him dancing. Wow. All right, the bottom is not where I want to be. It looks like it's where we're going to be, though.
3 wide. You're on the bottom. Got one outside. Still there.
At this point, I'm not sure if I'm driving the car or if the car is driving me through these corners. The tail is wagging the dog right now. Oh, very loose there in entry. Don't lose it.
Stay high.
Yep, had to back out of it there. Let the 17 get back to our inside. But that's all right. We're chasing it around. It's still plenty fast, even though it's not exactly handling in a steady manner. They call it steady state cornering, but there's anything but steady right now going on there. We need to get by this next if we can make it happen.
Still there. Stay high.
Okay, yeah, now it's starting to look a little better. Don't do that to me, Keselowski. I thought he was going to the bottom. He stayed in the middle. So this is some fun racing right now. Hope you guys are enjoying it as much as I am. It is a hair racing experience when your car is almost dead sideways every corner. And I'm trying not to turn the steering wheel any more than I absolutely have to. So we're inching our way back up toward the top 20. All right, that 10 car, we got behind him earlier, and it didn't go well for us. Let's see if we can clear him this time around.
Stay on the bottom.
I don't want to do it on the bottom, but that's kind of what he's giving us right now. All right, there we go. Bubba Wallace right in our crosshairs. Go to the bottom. No, we went kind of in the middle.
Stay high. Keep Keep it on top.
So it would be nice if these guys would take the bottom on entry instead of running a little bit of the middle of the track like they are. I need them to get out of the way, basically, so I can get some clean air and some grip up here in this middle to upper groove. But you can see, we got a little something for them right now. This is what I was hoping for. For whatever reason, these guys are just deadly fast on new tires, and I can't really hang with them as well as I would like. But after we get a little wear on the tires, after we're here approaching lap 15, they got me again on that entry. I got to learn these guys on entry and where they want to go, because they are killing my speed on entry right now.
Stay on the bottom. Clear.
But we are coming through the field pretty good right now. The car is still very twitchy, loose, but I feel like it's actually fairly well balanced, if that makes any sense. It's not extremely stable. Alright, yep, I got to figure these guys out, because I haven't done it yet. I was on the brakes, backing off early of the gas, and I just could not figure out where the 34 was going to go.
Got one outside. Good stop.
Because, yeah, this thing really wants to get loose going through the corner, but I kind of like it. Number one, it's fun to drive. Very stressful to drive, but it's a lot of fun. But it's faster this way, and it should help save that right front tire over a long run. And right now we're halfway through this race, and we're still making up ground on these guys, and I like that. We'll see how it goes for the remainder of the 30 laps, but right now this thing's still rotating pretty good overall. All right, we caught back up to the 5 car, who you remember was in the back with us for a little while. Oh, keep over the bumps. Ooh, if that was hair-raising. Couldn't quite make it happen. Give me that top side or the middle, and I'll be a happy man.
Got one
Like
inside.
that. Oh,
outside.
you can't spin it out. Don't spin it out.
Keep it on top.
Going through the middle like that, there's not a lot of air on your cars, so any side force you might have been depending on is now gone.
Stay high.
So congratulations.
Clear.
But I'm able to modulate the gas a little bit on entry and get this car to rotate, and that is a beautiful feeling. That's why I'm really not going to complain about how sideways it's getting sometimes. I'll try to deal with that, make some tweaks here and there from week to week, but if we can get this thing rotating like this at every track, then we're going to be in much better shape, as we're now inside the top 15. But as soon as I can get that nose pointed, then we are rocketing off the corner. You can see, I mean, we're making up tons of time on these guys on corner exit.
Keep low. Clear.
So we give up a little bit on entry for sure. Woo! Thought we were gone there for a second. And you can see these guys just coming right back to us quickly.
Stay high. Clear inside.
So yeah, maybe a few tweaks here, as we seem to be getting a little bit looser on the long run. But this is race number 1. This is where we got to learn this stuff. But I must say, I am very happy with our progress through the field. I mean, we are not that far from the top 10. Oh, that was a good turn there. That was very nice. I mean, you can see the steering wheel on the screen, which is pretty closely mimicking what I'm doing with my steering wheel. And I am not turning it a lot because this thing is twitchy. All right, the 5 coming back on our inside. I'm going to try to give him some room here.
Right. Stay right there. Keep it on top.
because he's got some speed. Not sure why he's this far back anyway. He was at the very back at the start for some reason. So a bad qualifying effort for him.
Still there.
But he's definitely showing some speed now.
Stay right there. Clear inside.
That was so fun. Right there, you could see me trying to counter steer that thing. And but yeah, I was feeling that right rear tire. And these guys are really messing up my entry.
Got one inside.
Oh, don't do it. Woo! There we go. Have some fun. Hang that right rear out a little bit. Yikes. So this is very different than what we've been used to on the longer runs. Of course, we're only 20 laps in, but we're used to getting extremely tight and the AI just filing by us because of that. Now, it looks like they're going to drive by us because we've gone too far the other way. We've actually gotten loose. Very loose, in fact. Yeah, there we go. There's just some fun to be had.
Got one inside. Keep high. Still there.
Just when you think you might be in the clear, you give it a little gas, and suddenly
Stay right there.
the crowd is looking at your right rear quarterback.
Stay right there.
Good for marketing. Bad for that tire.
There's the bottom.
So I'm trying to run a little bit higher to keep from having to turn the steering wheel as much into the corner, but I'm not sure that's really helping a whole lot right now. So we made our way up to about, what, 12th, 13th? And now we've dropped back a few spots. But overall, I'm going to tell you, I am pretty happy with this. The fact that we have found too loose is a good thing. Because before, all we were dealing with was tight, 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 and more tight. The fact that we are finally seeing the other side of it, that gives me hope. Maybe I can, right now it feels like just a little bit of wedge might do us a lot of good. Just a few ticks of wedge might give us a little bit of magic. But I'll make a decision. I'll get out after this race and I'll look at the tires, look at the wear, look at the temps, look at all those things, and try to see what might give us our best bang for the buck heading into our second race. All right, we're sitting here in 15th. I would really like to finish inside the top 15, but the 14 car, I fear, has other plans. All right, that was a good corner. We didn't have to counter steer there. If I don't have to chase that right rear through the corner, then we're in pretty good shape. Yep, definitely counter steered there.
Inside.
I had a big handful of steering wheel there.
Put on top. Still there. There's the bottom. Inside.
But as soon as I get back to the throttle, this thing rotates. So that is a very good thing. Regardless of where we finish this race, I am a happy man about this setup. I can live with this. This is a great place to start.
Still there. Still there.
Now, don't think for a second I'm not going to fight extremely hard for this 15th position. He may get me, but he's going to have to earn it because I'm not just going to give it to him. We're coming to, I believe, 1 to go. Don't really have a whole lot of time to be looking at the lap counter.
There's the bottom. Got one inside. Stay high.
Oh, turn 4 is just going to be my downfall. I just cannot get off that corner. All right, come on, let's stay on that right rear. Stay with him. Pull him back. There you go.
Keep high.
Oh, lost the nose on entry.
Stay right there. There's the bottom.
That is not what I wanted.
Got one outside. There's the top.
Oh yeah, take it back on the bottom. Hold on to it off of 4. There we go. There we go. Get down on that apron. Bring it home. Give me that spot. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Give me that 15th spot.
It's over. Bring it on home and let's get out of here.
See, once again, these guys are just not happy if we're not in the top 10. My man, we came from dead last into the top 15 in 30 laps. And we had so much fun doing it. So I don't know what you're complaining about. That was awesome. That was absolutely awesome. So I cannot wait to get a read on the tires, see where the temps are, the wear, and so forth. And then maybe plan a few tweaks for race number 2. We'll give these guys plenty of room as we come down to finish it off. I don't trust these guys right now in this car set. I've seen how aggressively they drive, and I don't trust them a bit. Oh, easy now. Go ahead, 14. You got something you want?
Pit boxing, 5, 3.
Thought maybe he was coming to us, maybe deliver a little message there or something. Maybe he didn't like the way we were racing at the end. Whatever the case may be, we got the 15th position, and he did not. So that is going to do it for today. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed our very first Cup race.